Devotees, welcome to BhagavatSanga program. As you all know, this is our Srimad Bhagavatam program, where devotees will read on a particular theme, prayers, and they will present the verses and their understanding and their realizations. Today, we have a very fantastic devotee, Mital Mataji. Mataji will be presenting from Lord Brahma's prayers to Sri Krishna. This is the first time we are meeting Mital Mataji, and Mataji is giving the class in our temple. So a brief introduction about Mataji. Mital Mataji and her family are a very pious family following Krishna consciousness. And they have been practicing, they have been joining our Friday Bhagavad Gita classes. Rohini Mataji introduced them to our congregation. And Sridevi Mataji and Kanan Prabhu are as well cultivating them. And we are so fortunate that we are getting to hear from Mital Mataji with the support of their family. With that, Mital Mataji, I'll just share my screen. Hare Krishna Mataji, you're muted.
Yes. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, Mataji, you can.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for giving this opportunity to me, Satyasara Prabhu. I am by no means capable of taking any class, but I'm just gonna try my best and share whatever I studied trying to do this presentation. I'm not very tech savvy, but Veena Mataji is gonna help me with the screen. So we'll start by doing prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So I picked Brahma's prayer to Lord Krishna, and I'm going to be reading text 4. Shreya Srutim Bhakti Mudasya Te Vibho Klishyanti Ye Kevala Bodhalaptaye Tesham Asau Kleshala Eva Shishyate Nanyadhyathastu Latushavagatinam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. My dear Lord, devotional service unto you is the best path for self-realization. If someone gives up that path and engages in cultivation of speculative knowledge, he will simply undergo a troublesome process and will not achieve his desired result. As a person who beats an empty husk of wheat cannot get grain, one who simply speculates cannot achieve self-realization. His only gain is trouble. So we all know why Brahma is praying to Lord Krishna. I'm just going to talk in short about the Vimohana Leela, which is the bewilderment of Brahma. So when Brahma saw that Krishna is after killing the demon, they are going for a picnic, and Krishna is sitting with all the gopals and sharing his food, and I cannot imagine what a beautiful scene that must be. It's actually my favorite scene from watching Little Krishna too. I love watching that on YouTube. And so he's like, this cannot be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is no way. And Brahma thinks that he is a devotee of the Lord and he is a servant of the Lord. And because he is a servant of the Lord, he knows about him. He knows about his whereabouts. So if that was the Lord, he would have known. And so he assumed that there is no way that is the Supreme Lord Krishna. And to test Krishna, Krishna can test all of us, but none of us are capable of testing him. But Brahma wanted to test him. So he stole the gopals and the calves and hid them in a cave. And So what was happening was, when the Gopals were sharing lunch and eating with Krishna, the calves, because they were wanting green grass, they went far away from them. And so Krishna was like, Gopals, you continue eating your picnic, I will go get the cows. So Krishna went to look for the cows, and Brahma meanwhile took all the cows and the Gopals and hid them. So when Krishna Bhagavan came back, of course he's Bhagavan, so he knows everything. And he understood that Brahma was doing this, so he decided to teach him a lesson. And so he created all the Gopals and the cows by his own expansion. Of course, Krishna being the Supreme Lord, nothing is impossible for him. He can do anything that he wants. But Srila Prabhupada explains that how he could manifest into so many forms. And he says that because he is Lord and because Krishna is Advaitam, Achyutam, Anadim, and Anantarupam. Advaitam means Krishna is the only one. There is no one other like him. It is impossible. There is only one supreme, and that is Krishna. Achyutam means he is the infallible one, which means that no one can defeat him by any means. Anadim is the one who has no beginning. He was always present. And Anantarupam is one who can exist in infinite forms. So Krishna expanded himself, and then when Brahma saw this, he was like, how is that possible? And then he realizes the mistake, and that's why he's praying to Lord Krishna. When he realized his mistake, he was very sorry about it, and he went to the Lord and he cried a lot at his lotus feet and asked for forgiveness. And Krishna, being very merciful, he forgave Lord Brahma. So Lord Brahma was able to understand that this is Krishna himself, the Supreme Lord, because Krishna, by his mercy, removed the curtain of the Yog Maya. And that's why Brahma was able to understand him. And that's the reason why Brahma is saying the prayer. Also in Brahma Samhita, Brahmaji's prayer says, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Means Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme controller. He has an eternal, blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, for he is the prime cause of all causes. So when Brahma realizes his mistake, he is praying to Krishna, and he understands that how the Vrajvasis, the plants, animals living in Vraj, they are so lucky. And so he is asking or wanting to be a part of the Vraj, even in the form of a blade of grass. He wants to be associated with Krishna, and he wants to live in Vraj in some form or the other. And since Brahma was trying to bewilder Krishna, in some ways, many of us, in one way or the other, plus many scientists and philosophers, we question who is God, or is Krishna really the supreme? But we have to understand that we can never surpass him, or we can never understand him completely without his mercy. We can only surrender to him. And so Krishna himself says, Sarma dharmam parityajya mamekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha yishyami masucha, which means that abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me, and I shall deliver you from all the sinful reactions. Do not fear. So Krishna himself is clearly saying in the Bhagavad Gita that the best way to get to him is to surrender him and love him. One should not endeavor to understand the absolute truth by process of mental speculation, because it is very difficult for non-devotees to understand all the transcendental features of Supreme Lord. I mean, Lord can not be understood by anyone 100%, even the demigods like Brahma, Shiva, even though they are God, they cannot understand Krishna completely. Krishna can only be understood by the mercy of Krishna himself and the mercy of pure devotees of the Lord. So when we associate with the pure devotees and when we associate with Krishna, then it's possible for us to understand him to some extent. No one can ever understand him completely. Also, it's stated in Bhagavatam that transcendental existence of God, it's not that somebody explained you today and you will understand it tomorrow, or if you start doing devotional service today and you are going to know it the next hour. I wish it was so easy, but it's not. So it comes progressively, and it says, Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan iti saptyate. The transcendental existence of God is understood progressively as impersonal effulgence, then localized supersoul in one's heart, and finally the supreme personality of Godhead existing in the eternal abode. And we all are aware, we have learned from so many classes during Bhagavad Gita from Satyasara Prabhu, Veena Mataji, Sri Devi Mataji, and Kanan Prabhu, that there are different ways of realizing Krishna or realizing the absolute truth. But Krishna himself indicates that Bhakti Yoga or devotional service to him is the highest of all. So I just wanted to talk about what it means when you say surrender to Krishna. When we surrender to Krishna, it means that we should have full faith in him and we should not question that he is the supreme. And we have to do all the activities as per the scriptures. When we worship him, we do not ask for anything in return from Krishna. He already knows. He is residing in everybody's heart. So he knows what everybody thinks, what everybody wants, and we should never ask anything from him. We should be satisfied with what we have. We should keep chanting the Lord's name, and we should always be happy in whatever situation we are. And we should never doubt ourselves. Many people will worship one God one day, some other God other day. And that's a sign that they are not stable. They don't have full faith in Krishna. And that's why we do that. Many of us do not have all the qualities that we really need to reach Krishna, because as a devotee, we have to cultivate certain qualities in order to reach close to Krishna. So let's look at some of the qualities that as a devotee we should cultivate to be able to reach Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada says that we should be free from all designation. So the I has to go. That is very important, because if we do not let go of our designations, then we cannot be humble and we cannot be kind. So that's the first thing that's required for a good devotee. And our consciousness has to be cleansed, where Prabhupada says, uses the word nirmalam. So we have to be very nirmal and our consciousness should be clean. Other qualities that are important is vivek, which is understanding of what is good and what is bad. Now, how will you know what is good and what is bad? So that's why we have to take help of our scriptures. Then most important, I personally think, is patience or dhairya. it's very difficult to have patience. I mean, I can definitely assure you about myself. I am very impatient, not just for devotional service, but even when in day to day life, one small thing happens during the day and we are all disturbed and impatient and we want results right away. But if you really want to do devotional service, then you have to be very, very patient. Other quality a devotee should have is ashray or faith. Uh, we do not do pure devotion. When we face difficulties in our life, then we become very hopeless. We run around here and there and try to seek help from everywhere. But if our faith is 100% strong in Krishna, then that's going to help us be strong and be not fearful. So that is very important. I remember a childhood incident, like when my dadi, she would also always do devotional service, and we kids would be roaming around in the house, and our only attraction going into the temple room was to get prasadam, because we knew first thing in the morning during summer break, Dadi will make some ras laddus and give it to Krishna. And so all the kids would gather. In fact, she would be like, she would close the doors when Krishna is doing the bhojan, and we would peek through the hole and try to see when the prasadam came out. And of course, when she asked us to do the darshan, we would just go, okay, just look at the deity, fold our hands and take prasadam and run away from there. And then she would call us and she would like ask, okay, so tell me what color dress Krishna is wearing today. Did you see what the mukut looks like? What how is he, was he smiling at you? I mean, these are just simple things that I feel like it makes a big impression. And that's why it's very important to at least sit in front of God every day, just without thinking of anything, just watch the deity and just enjoy, because the deity we have in our house, we have to think that that is the supreme personality of Godhead. It is the same God that lifted the Govardhan hill. It is the same God who lived in Vraj and did so many activities with all the gopis and the gopals. And we always have to ask for the mercy of Lord, because Krishna is very merciful. There's another story I remember about Krishna being merciful. So when they were doing Govardhan Puja and everybody was trying to offer something to the Lord, one of the gopis had made some dish to offer to Lord, but for some reason she could not physically go at the Govardhan hill and offer the food. And when she really called Krishna from her heart, Krishna, even though he was so busy with the ceremony, he himself went to the gopi's house and took the prasadam from her. So it's beyond imagination to even think, like people like us who are so sinful, but when we take to devotional service, we can definitely see Krishna's mercy on us. And um, I also wanted to discuss a little bit about what do we get when we do devotional service. Like, why should we do devotional service? Of course, we want mercy of Krishna, but in our everyday life, it makes us a better human being. We all have family. We may or may not have kids, and we work here and we come in contact with so many people, and life sometimes can become very stressful. But when you do devotional service regularly, first of all, our ego goes away. And that helps in a very big way, because when you don't have ego, you're willing to understand different points of view, or try to understand where the other person is coming from, and you are more patient. When you do devotional service, your fear goes away. Life is very unpredictable. We all go through so many changes all of a sudden, and um, especially with kids growing in this country, and we are always very fearful of what's going to happen in the future, how are we going to handle it. But when you do devotional service and you know that Krishna is looking out for you, and no matter how difficult the situation is, he will be there always to help you. My daughter was actually sick last week, and of course you stress out when you see your own kid is sick. And so she saw that I was a little uncomfortable. I wasn't crying or anything, but I was worried. And she saw me and she could immediately make out that mommy is really stressed. And then she started asking me that, mom, what if I have COVID? What's going to happen to me? Oh my God, what will we do? And I told her, okay, if you have COVID, do you think mama can help you? And she says, no. I'm like, do you think daddy can help you? No. Do you think doctor can help you? And she says, maybe. So I asked her, so you know who can help you? And she said, yes, now I know Krishna can help me. I'm like, there you go, you know the answer. So who should you think about? So whenever you are in distress, think about Krishna and you will immediately get relief. The other good benefit of doing devotional service is that we give up the desire of lording over the material nature. We all want what's the best for ourselves. When we go grocery shopping, when we see the best fruit, mangoes are in season, we first think, oh, I want to eat that mango. I love mangoes, so I'm very biased towards mangoes. But so what we have to cultivate with devotional service is, okay, this is the best mango, but I'm going to take this not for yourself. I'm going to offer this to Krishna. Of course, Krishna doesn't need anything. He only wants your love. But that's the mentality we have to try and cultivate, that even our day-to-day activities, whatever we do, we only want to do it for Krishna and nobody else. The other benefit is one becomes really joyful. So dealing with day-to-day stress, I mean, if I walk randomly into somebody's house and they are all stressed out about, oh my God, the house doesn't look clean and this and that, and I don't see anyone smiling unless they are watching like a comedy movie or a show. It's very difficult to get a good smile out of someone these days. But when you are constantly thinking of Krishna, then you are just calm from the inside and you feel very joyful and you want to spread that joy everywhere. So everywhere you go, you bring that quality with you and you try to make everybody around you happy. Now, we all know that we are part and parcels of Krishna. And like Prabhupada explains, he gives the example of the sparks of fire. But because those sparks have distanced themselves from the fire itself, he's comparing souls like us to those sparks of fire. And because we have distanced ourselves from Krishna, that's why we are suffering in this age. So the disassociation makes the soul forgetful of its relation with the Supreme Lord. Now, next question that when I wasn't doing devotional service, that came to my mind, even though I was always raised to do devotional service, but I felt like when I moved here and had kids, I was like, oh my God, there is no time for me to do devotional service. There is no way I can do this. In fact, the Bal Krishna Swaroop that I had, that my mom gave me during my marriage, I would just dress it, put it in the side, maybe do one pranam in the morning, and that's it. And I was lucky that my mom was able to come back live with me, and that's when she made me realize. She was like, you were so much into devotional service, what's going on, what's happening, how come you're not even serving the Lord at all. And she kind of motivated me, and then I understood that that was a huge mistake. And by her guidance, I was able to get back into the devotional service. Now, there is no question or doubt, since we are part and parcels of Krishna, that every soul has one duty, and that is to serve Krishna. Loving service to Supreme Person is the natural and eternal function of the living entity. So Prabhupada here very clearly explains and specifies that it is our obligation. It is not our duty. Duty we may sometimes ignore, but he stresses that it is our obligation. And there is no doubt that since we are part and parcel of Krishna, our prime duty or our first duty is to serve him. So many times we question, like I used to question or come up with excuses. I don't have time. There is no way. In India, we have maids to do the work. Here, I have to do everything by myself. There is no way I have time to serve Krishna. But I realized that it is our prime duty. So you have to, you cannot give up on that duty. It is very much required for us to serve him. When I say serve him, it's not just a mechanical process. We have to make sure that we, even though we take out few times out of the day to serve him, we serve him with all the bhav, with all the emotions. Like in temple, you can have a priest and they can do all the ceremonies and puja. But when you are serving Krishna, you cannot hire anyone to do it. You have to do it by yourself. And I feel like the easiest way to incorporate in your daily life is to involve all the members of your family. It's been really challenging, but now school started and I was just requesting my kids, like, pick one activity that you want to do. So they agreed that, okay, my son decided that he's going to pick the fruit that he wants to serve Krishna during the seva next day, and he's going to keep it out of the fridge. And my daughter agreed that she's going to get the tulsi leaf from outside and put it on the fruit when we are serving food to the Lord. So it's just simple things that you have to do, because idol worship is very important. If, as human being, as we all know, it's almost impossible to meditate because our mind is constantly wandering and we cannot focus. But when we focus on the personal form of Lord, when we are trying to serve, then we really connect with the God, and it's easier for us to focus on Lord. And that's why it's very important. And we always should remember that our life revolves around Krishna and not the other way around. So there is no excuse for not doing devotional service. What else? I think that's all I have for today's lecture. I don't know if I'm running on time, over time, or...
Hare Krishna Mataji. Absolutely brilliant. I had no idea the time is over. But such a fantastic class. I mean, the way you spoke about devotional service is like so amazing. You narrated the pastime beautifully, and recitation was really excellent. And Mataji, I just loved how you shared your personal realizations and your story, and the significance of devotional service, how it removes our ego and fear and brings the joy and calm. You could really connect to it. It was truly a wonderful class. Thank you very much, Mital Mataji, for this one class. And we also thank your family for supporting you and giving this class.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity, especially to Satyasara Prabhu and Veena Mataji, you and Sri Devi Mata and Kanan Prabhu for helping me through this.
Thank you, Mataji. And I mean, I'm just speechless, it was a really philosophical and deep class. So that's really nice. With
I'm
that,
glad you
devotees,
liked it.
yeah, thank you, Mataji. With that, devotees, quick announcement. We are starting Krishna Katamritam from Monday. It's going to be 7 to 7:30, Monday to Thursday, and Friday is going to be 7 to 8. Devotees are going to read from Krishna book and share the childhood pastimes of Lord Shri Krishna. Request all of you all to attend. With that, Satisara Prabhu, would you like to?
Yes, Mataji, thank you. Mital Mataji, this amazing class. Your realizations were very, very practical and also relatable and philosophically sound class as well. So thank you, Mataji.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thanks to the entire family, Prabhu, and kids as well, supporting you.
Very nice class, Mataji. It's a really wonderful class. And the way how you connected from a Brahma prayer to, your own kids, how we need to do the service. We should not forget Krishna. Each and every point is registered in our mind, Mataji. It's such a fantastic class, and your sloga recitation is really superb. I'm really, really thankful for you giving us this class, and we look forward more classes from you, Mataji.
Thank you so much.